ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and folk of all ages. You know what time it is. That's right, it is March 1st, so it's time to learn a little bit about the holidays, holy days, days of remembrance, those special holidays of our people, the great Aryan folk, the members of the Church of the Aesir, the Asatru Folk Assembly. Alright, so on March 9th is our Day of Remembrance, just like every month. And in this month, we celebrate and honor Olvir of Egg. And also following that, we observe on March 16th, because that's the weekend, the Saturday, the easiest day for most people to get together. But more officially this year, on the spring equinox, March 19th, is Ostara. Alright, so let's get into it and learn a little bit about these special days. We're going to start again on March 9th with the Day of Remembrance for Olvir of Egg. So who's Olvir? Sometime between 1020 and 1021 Common Era, the Christianization of pagan Europe was well underway. King Olaf II was ensconced on the throne of Norway. Much of the country had been baptized under threat of torture and death. Such things, however, were not enough to deter the faithful, and eventually word reached the ears of King Olaf II of gatherings in and around Trondheim of a very pagan nature. Olvir of Egg, a leader and a Gothi of his people, was elected by his people to speak to the king on their behalf and to defend their religious activities. An intelligent man, Olvir was called before the king on two separate occasions to defend the stories of pagan festivals and feasts. On both occasions, Olvir of Egg humbly described not pagan gatherings, but communal gatherings in which neighbors drank and feasted as friends. Both times Olvir left behind an unconvinced king, and when spies told him a third time of an Easter festival being arranged for the people, Olaf decided that he had heard enough. 5 ships and over 300 men were gathered and set out to ambush Olvir and the men and women who worshipped with him. Arriving under the cover of darkness, Olaf's men ambushed Olvir and his pagan community. Olvir was killed, and many of his people were tortured, mutilated, or killed. Once a great stronghold of the pagan faith, Trondheim had been taken. And what can we learn from the story? Many of these stories are not happy stories. On the surface, they are stories of death and defeat. But we have to look past the surface of all of these stories. Here, with Olvir, we see a man who loved his gods, and despite all of the pressures of his ancient world, did his best to worship them. Not only did he do his best for himself, but he also did the best he could for his people. In the face of adversity, Olvir did his best to provide and protect his people from the angry outside force that was the king. Our world is not the same that Olvir lived in. We have the right to choose our faith, but there will always be obstacles. In these times, when our native faith is still so small, and our heritage is being challenged by the multicultural whirlwind, remember Olvir. Provide a safe place for your folk to be away from the harm of the societal norm. Remember that sometimes smart words are required instead of rash ones. Be there for your folk. Provide for your folk. The gods and the ancestors are watching. We'll follow up the Day of Remembrance for Olvir with a much more, well, happy holiday. Ostara. Again, Ostara this year is observed on March 16th, but more officially celebrated on the spring equinox of March 19th. So what's Ostara about? Let's find out. Hail, Ostara, conquering goddess of the dawn, radiant lady of spring. You ride boldly out of the east, conquering all before you. May your light chase away the darkness. May your warmth banish the cold. Ostara is the celebration marking the beginning of spring. The cold, dreary days of winter are finally coming to an end. The sun is warming the frozen soil. Life is once stirring from the depths. Ostara is a celebration in every way. Our ancestors celebrated life and the survival of another long winter. They celebrated the birth of lambs, calves, and horses. They celebrated the blossoming fertility of the world around them. In today's fast and hectic world, now is a good time to stop and take a deep breath. Let the sun warm your face, and take the time to thank the gods and the ancestors for seeing you through another cold winter. Shake off the influence of the winter blues. Now is the time to get your hands dirty. The small plot of the garden that you planned for during the charming of the plow is almost ready for planting. Keep that soil turned and soft. Keep fertilizing it. It is too cold to plant seeds directly into the ground, but this is a good time to begin your seeds inside. Plant them and keep them warm. Set yourself up for success. If you are not working on a garden, then you should be moving into the planning stages of your Charming of the Plow project, to the beginning stages of the active stage. The winter months are stationary by nature, but winter is over. Now it is time to leave the introspection in favor of action. With industriousness, we can change the world. Start small and move always onward. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening in again as we learned a little bit about the holidays, holy days, days of the remembrance of our people. I so look forward to talking to you all every single month. And, well, we'll get a chance again in April. But until then, hail the gods, hail the folk, hail the AFA, hail Olvir of Egg, and hail Ostara. Tschüss!